Hello everybody, and welcome to the Hurdy Gurdy Cafe, an hour of interviews, music, and camaraderie. I'm Ryan, and I'll be your host along this crazy adventure through the land of the wheel fiddle. So strap in, and let's see what's cranking in the Hurdy Gurdy community today. Welcome everybody to the Hurdy Gurdy Cafe. This is the first episode in hopefully a long series of podcasts dedicated to the Hurdy Gurdy. And our first guest today, and hopefully common co-host, will be Sergio Gonzalez. He is a Hurdy Gurdy player. He does just about everything. He's a teacher. He's my favorite Spaniard so far. So welcome, Sergio.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
Very happy to be here on the first episode of the podcast.
One of the things we want to talk about today, we need to really kind of get into what is the Hurdy Gurdy all about. I mean, you know, a lot of people search the internet and they're looking for information on the Hurdy Gurdy, and we know that it's a stringed instrument, and we know that it's not powered by air, but...
Oh my God. I got that question. When I was playing in the street, I got that question a lot. Like, where do you blow?
Yeah. And you told them there is no air, right?
Or what is the air pump? You know, right. Everybody. Yeah.
So when we get into this, what can you tell us about the Hurdy Gurdy? Where did it come from? What's it all about? I mean, I know you mentioned earlier you're not necessarily a historian, but you know a lot. So just tell us what you know.
Well, I know the first form of the Gurdy was the Organistrum, of course, which was like, you know, this huge machine where you need two people to play it. And actually it's interesting because the keys were pulled, not pressed in. Did you know that? It's
right.
It's very good. So that was the first form, right? Uh-huh. of the Gurdy. Then we have the Sinfonias later on, more on the medieval period. And then on the Baroque era, I think they got very popular in the courts of France and so on. And then, of course, they disappeared kind of for quite a lot of years, being instruments like, you know, for more of it's more like a peasant instrument, if that's the correct word in English. Sorry, my English.
That's okay.
And I know some of them remain in Galicia. In Galicia, this is interesting. It was a popular instrument played by blind people. So you would see those blind guys with the capes, with the hats, you know, playing in the street to try to get some money. So I don't know. That's my my short thing about the Gurdy history. I'm not an expert, not a historian. We have lots of people that could tell you quite a lot more than this. And right. Obviously, we forgot to talk about the Gurdys of the tekeros and all those instruments from Hungary. We have lots of traditions, of different traditions and different forms of the Hurdy Gurdy in different countries. So right. It's vast. It's a vast universe. So
well, yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, you know, from listening to Tobie who we're going to hear a little later on with playing Bach on the Hurdy Gurdy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I recently was having a conversation with Cliff Stapleton, and he asked me if I was interested in avant-garde Hurdy Gurdy.
Ooh, what's
and
that?
I thought, that's what I said. I said avant-garde Hurdy Gurdy. I said, I don't know.
Is that maybe Clastrier, for example, Valentin Clastrier?
Well, if you go to YouTube and you Google Coil, C-O-I-L, okay. and then Paris, and then Cliff Stapleton, you pull up these live shows where you can see Cliff in the background, and he's got his Hurdy Gurdy, and the case is open, and he's not even pushing on any notes. He's just running his fingers up and down the string. So it's a lot of different sounds. So.
Actually, now it came to my mind. I totally know what's avant-garde in the Hurdy Gurdy world. It's Marc Egea. Do you know him? He was my first teacher, actually. When I first got my Gurdy, he was the man I contacted, you know, to tell me, okay, how do I start? Where do I press? What do I do? And this guy is a pure virtuoso, Marc Egea, and obviously he's now into this kind of music, into the avant-garde where he would be like plucking the sympathetic strings like ching,
Right.
boom, tac, tick, tac, too. So he's not like he's not like really playing real melodies. Well, that's
Careful.
wait. No. I actually went to his last show, and it was. I must say it was interesting. It was like watching, those abstract paintings
Exactly.
on the music. Where you eventually you get like, ooh, okay, that phrase is interesting, or that noise is interesting. So if anybody of you is interested in this kind of music, in the avant-garde thing, just Google Marc Egea, Marc Egea, Egea, Egea.
Okay. Well, we can
Marc
put that.
Egea.
We can put that in the notes too, so people can find it down there.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
It's nice, very nice.
Well, one quick question I have for you is, how did you get involved and how did you get interested in the Hurdy Gurdy? I mean, it seems to have been exploding lately. So what was your entry point into the Hurdy Gurdy?
I saw my first Gurdy when I was 6 years old, believe it or not. It's crazy, and it's even more crazy because, I was in vacation on my father's village, which is, it's a really, it's a place that is far away from everything. It's in the middle of nowhere, and in the next little village. Well, my father's village is in Cuenca. It's a place in the center, more or less, of Spain, and it's a village that has only like 20 people living there. So it's crazy small. And then on the next village, which is also small, Cañete, they had a concert in the small church, and it was the Cantigas from Santa Maria. There was that really old book that has like 600 and something tunes,
Right.
with lyrics talking about the miracles.
Are they medieval tunes?
Yes,
or church?
100%.
Okay.
100% medieval tunes talking about the miracles of the Virgin.
Right.
So we said, why not? There is not much to do in those kind of villages where there isn't even a bar, which is very, very, very strange in Spain because we have bars everywhere. So we went there, and I was like, oh, as a kid, I really do. I remember that feeling like, what the hell is that?
Were you playing any music at the time at all? Or
I was playing piano. I'm a pianist, a classical pianist. I trained piano for 25 years and running. Right. And at the time, it was like I got amazed, like, wow. And then I lost the track of the instrument for quite a lot of years. Then I got involved into the pagan music scene, and with Faun, with those German medieval kind of bands. Mm-hmm. And I rediscovered the Hurdy Gurdy there. And then I started investigating. I watched Efren, of course. Efren was my key into the Gurdy world, like my real key. Right. Because of L'Âme de Phoque, his band. I listened to this album, to the first album of L'Âme de Phoque, and I got like, ooh, okay, this is pretty interesting. So I bet Efren was the real deal. I knew the instrument. I was amazed as a kid when I saw that concert in the small village with the cantigas and so on. It was very beautiful. But obviously, as a child, I could not, I couldn't afford one, no. Right. But yeah, Efren
Lopez. That's who you're talking about, correct?
Efren Lopez.
For those who are listening.
100%, Efren Lopez.
Yes.
And then we got we are friends, and I appreciate him a lot. He was my teacher also for some workshops, and I've been to his house. Like it's amazing, an amazing person, an amazing player.
Yes. So, yeah. I remember my first experience of his music and it was very recently, but it was the video. Maybe it was the Kopanica. Is that
the Kopanica? It's a Bulgarian tune. Yes, it's in 11.
Yes, exactly. The one where he's up on the mountaintop.
Yes. With Nigel Segal and Johnny Vendor on bagpipes and the wool also great.
Yes, I mean that music that put me over the top.
It's beautiful. Yes. No, I was going to ask you the same question. How did you? Because this is the first podcast. The people have to know you also.
True. Well, that's a good point, and I need to be very clear that in regards to this whole hurdy-gurdy world, I am really less than nothing. I've become interested in the hurdy-gurdy about 3 years ago, and I knew about the hurdy-gurdy because I saw. Are you familiar with the Led Zeppelin movie? The Song Remains the Same.
I think I actually yes. I saw it. Yes.
There's a 30-second clip in that movie where Jimmy Page is sitting by a lake and he's cranking something. It's making the most god-awful sounds. And then he turns around and his eyes are bright red. And so I knew the hurdy-gurdy existed. Okay. But then fast forward 20, 25 years, I discovered Efren Lopez and Nigel Eaton's work and Andrei Vinogradov. And my mind was blown. So I ended up selling my mandolins, selling my electric guitars, just so I could devote all my time to the hurdy-gurdy.
Okay. Everybody has heard Nigel on the gallows pole.
Yes.
So, wow. For me, he's an icon also. Love you, Nigel.
What makes you think, why do you think hurdy-gurdy is becoming so popular these days? Like, I was at a picnic one time last year, and a little 6-year-old girl heard me playing, and she knew what it was. And this is in the middle of rural West Virginia, where this instrument is, it's like a unicorn. Why do you think it's getting so popular?
Okay, this could be controversial.
Okay.
Warning.
No problem.
Warning.
No problem.
We have this kind of mainstream part of the hurdy-gurdy, which is contributing a lot to get the instrument out there,
right.
and it's very gentle for the first for the starters, for the people that don't know the instrument and maybe they don't want to hear Coup de Six, So. Of course, as I told you, we have this fantasy band, this medieval kind of medieval fantasy. It's not really medieval. We all know it. It's more like a fantasy thing, where it's becoming more and more popular. And I think it comes from there. From yes, that's what I think.
Okay.
I don't really know, but I think it's more it's getting out there. With these guys like Patty, like Andre, like the easy listening Gurdy,
right? Easy listening.
Yes, that's my yes.
Is that the album you're working on? Is it an easy listening Gurdy album?
Sorry.
No.
No. I'm working also. I'm recording an album of my own tunes, and also I love Middle East music, like Ricardo Delfino, Efren, those kind of guys. So I am trying to record my own album using that kind of language. I'm taking lessons with Kelly Thoma, which is she's a really great lirari, like the Lyra of Crete. Do you know that instrument?
Yes.
Really, it's like a violin, not like a violin, but it's.
You play it upright?
Yes, like this.
Yes.
And now I'm working a lot on trying to mimic the techniques, the sound of the Cretan Lyra, like transpassing this knowledge into the hurdy-gurdy. So that's my goal. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, excellent. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a moment, because what I wanted to do with this podcast and the show is introduce people to music, because we're sure that they've heard Nigel and Patty and Efren and many of these people that are out there, but I want to feature maybe 1 or 2 or 3 tunes in each podcast. So today we've got 3 of them. So we'll just take a little break here and listen to those, and then we'll come back and we'll move on to what I'm going to call the Gurdy talk portion. where we're essentially doing a Q&A with Sergio here that have been posted on the Hurdy Gurdy community Facebook page. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, great.
inspired from an experience in Jerusalem many years ago, and that's hence the name Almond and Olive. I ended up playing with two Palestinian marriage bands, of which no women were invited. I ended up dancing with a man dressed up as a woman because I was the guest. Anyway, that's a very short story. But anyway, but before it was near the second station of the cross in the Via Dolorosa, and I got presented, and I've forgotten his name, but he gave me an almond, and he said, "Take some blood for courage," because I never played with those musicians before. Anyway, it's called The Almond and the Olive, and you can do a French dance called a mazurka to it. And I'll probably do an intro. I'm not sure.
Okay, so we just got done listening to 3 separate tracks. The first track was Tobie Miller's Cello Suite No. 1 in G major. It was track number 8 from the Bach solo album. Number 2 was Nigel Eaton, and the track was called Three Sharks, track number 7 from Pandaemonium. And then the last track we heard, one of my real favorites recently, is by Cliff Stapleton, The Almond and the Olive, and that recording is from the Bath Folk Festival in 2011. So anyway, Sergio, you have any thoughts on any of these tunes or the authors and composers?
They are amazing players, amazing composers. There's a lot to be said about them, but I don't know where to start. Like, we have to interview them, really.
Yes.
Tobie is for me, it's the main exponent, top 1 player in Baroque music. She has like really amazing albums if you like this kind of music. Of course, Nigel is the rock star.
Yes.
and Cliff with Blows a Bell and all, they are top.
Yeah. Quick question: do you think Nigel likes being considered the rock star?
I don't know, but I
mean,
I don't know, Nigel. You tell me.
Yeah.
You tell me, Nigel. Do you like being the rock star of the Gurdy? Come on, he's a rock star. Did you see him live? Like,
yes.
It's amazing. I love it. The groove also. It's amazing.
I saw him.
He's one of my favorite players, and having him in the community, for me at first was like, okay, very shocking. You know, when you have one of your icons there talking to you, it's amazing.
I mean, that's really kind of the beautiful thing about this whole Hurdy Gurdy community. You know, the Facebook page and all the people there, is that I was having a discussion with my violinist, and I was telling her about you and telling her about Nigel and telling her about Cliff and all these people, and she said, these Hurdy Gurdy people, they just seem like a lot of, I would like to hang out with them. She said, we need to go across the pond and go to Spain and go to the UK and just visit these people.
Yeah. Are you sure about that? Really?
So are you saying I just like you because I only know a little bit about you so far? Is that it?
Not really. You have to come here to Spain and we'll hang out.
We'll see how it goes. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the final portion of this first Hurdy Gurdy podcast. And these are questions directly from the Hurdy Gurdy community on Facebook. So
yes.
It's pretty easy, right? You go to Facebook and you type in Hurdy Gurdy community and this will pop up, right?
It's that, yes. We accept members every week. So yes, just click there on join and we'll accept you.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. So the first question we have here from I believe I'm pronouncing it right, Inez. The question is, what would you recommend regarding starting to learn the Gurdy? What kind of approaches would you take to learning the Gurdy? Anything that you recommend?
It's a big question.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I guess it would depend on the music, right? The music that they like.
Yes, but for sure, getting a teacher. This for me, it's and now we are growing. Like we have more teachers online and also around the globe. So it's getting easier to get to the knowledge. Also obviously on or YouTube videos, and those are really good places to start. But probably the first thing I should point is adjustment. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to play an instrument that sounds bad.
Right. And
even Michael Baumer, very expensive, very high, not expensive because it's not expensive, it's high end.
Yes.
So yes, it's even those really top end Hurdy Gurdys, if they don't have a proper adjustment, they will not sound good.
Right.
So that would be my first advice. Like, learn to tame your instrument, because like to put the right amount of cotton, like controlling the pressure of the melody strings to the wheel, like shimming with paper. It sounds intimidating at first, but it's easier than it looks, really.
And you've got videos on this, right? On your YouTube channel.
I do, yes.
And what is your YouTube channel again for those listening?
Yes, you have to type Zamfoneando with Z.
Okay. And that'll pop right up.
Yes, yeah, totally.
Okay, good. Well, let's move on to question number 2. So question number 2 is from Margarita, and she asks, how do you make the most out of a low or mid-range priced instrument? And then she says, as opposed to HGSOs, but I don't know what that means. What's an HGSO?
That's a Hurdy Gurdy shaped object.
Oh.
This is a good place to start. Like talking about HGSOs, it's important, especially for the beginners that are listening to the podcast.
Right.
Really, there are instruments. Like I do this. If you are,
if you're listening, he's doing air quotes. Yes.
Exactly. I didn't know that word in English. Sorry.
Yes, air quotes.
Air quotes. I'm doing that word.
Yes.
Because they are, for me, they are not instruments. They are something that looks like a Hurdy Gurdy, but it's not really a Hurdy Gurdy. And even if it's €1,000 or $1,000, it's not a Hurdy Gurdy.
Right.
So that's the HGSOs. Please, if you want to avoid buying those kind of instruments, go to the Hurdy Gurdy community page in Facebook, and we have an FAQ telling you which ones you should avoid. And I forgot the question.
The question was, how do you make the most out of a low or mid-range priced instrument? But it doesn't have to be super expensive for it to be good.
Of course. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Even I don't want to say even.
Yeah.
An Hurdy Gurdy, which is a kit that you put together and costs like $300.
It's like $350 or something, yeah.
$350 or something like that. I don't know, dollars, euros. Just go check it on Google. hurdygurdy.nl from the Netherlands, from Jaap. That instrument, which is a kit you put together in a week with very, very little woodworking knowledge, you can make it sound really cool. So, I mean, a low-priced Gurdy doesn't equal it doesn't equal a bad instrument.
Right.
Right. Or the new Aplo by Michalina and Hurdy Gurdys. It's very good, and it's €1,000.
Right. Well, I mean, even Robert Mendel with his the symphonies is that the box shaped Gurdys, correct? I mean,
yes.
those aren't super expensive, and they're still brilliant instruments.
They are, I think, €1,000. Not my thing, I have to say. But
that style of instrument.
Not that style. The construction, I don't like it very much. But yes, they're an option. I mean,
right.
I think there are better options there. But yes.
What about Gordy Staruk? Have you played any of his stuff?
Yes. I think his instruments are pretty interesting. Yeah. Yes. He's an Ukrainian maker, and I tried one of his three strings models. I think it's pretty interesting for the price. When he started, he was. Well, I think now he's more in the 800 and something euros range. And someone reported some problems with the dog.
Right.
But I think it's fixed. So, yeah, it's also an option.
Yeah. Well, this whole idea of mid to low range too. I used to think hurdy-gurdys were ridiculously expensive. And before we started this interview, you mentioned that you were taking a train. You were taking a train from the city to the town or to your home, yes. And it occurred to me. I thought, no wonder I see all these individuals who aren't in America, younger people with expensive hurdy-gurdys. It's because they don't have to buy a car.
I don't have a car, but I have many gurdies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've spent more on a hurdy-gurdy than I've spent on a car before.
Of course, but listen one thing. We say hurdy-gurdys are expensive.
Yeah.
But what about a bassoon? It's $30,000. An oboe. a top-end violin could be $1 million, and
Exactly.
our top-end Gurdy, it's what, 15K?
Right. That I think more people need to hear that, because even the most expensive Gurdys that I've found, being a recent homeowner, I had to have a door replaced, just a door, just an outside door, and they quoted me $3,000 to replace this door, and I thought to myself, that's a door, and it costs this much money. To have a hurdy-gurdy with all these moving pieces and all the skill that goes into it, they're not expensive instruments when you think of it like that.
They're really, really complex, and I can tell you because I am starting to make instruments,
Right.
but just for fun. And you cannot imagine, really, like a 1 millimeter
Right.
or 1 fraction of an inch fuck imperial system.
Yes.
We all know it's not good. So one fraction of some little deviation and just screwed up.
Yeah, it throws it all off.
Really, it's frustrating. So that's also something that I want to comment, because I get like, not thousands, to be honest, but 20, 25, 30 emails a week asking me stuff about the instrument. Please send me more emails. I'm happy with that. But when you guys ask me, I want to make a hurdy-gurdy,
Right.
maybe it's not the best idea, because you have to have access to a really well-equipped woodworking shop, a lathe, saws, timber, and of course not only the machines but the skill. It's really complex. It's really complex, I have to tell you.
Yeah, so the builders who make hurdy-gurdys, they are absolutely worth the time and the money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And they undercharge a lot.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Well, we'll leave it at that for now, but I'm sure we could probably spend a whole episode just on that alone.
Yes, of course.
So we'll go through just a few more questions here, and this one, I'm not sure if this is a serious question or not. This is from Reno. It is, where does the air come from?
It has a pump here, and when you crank, actually, there's the Lyra organizzata, which is a form of the Gurdy that had an air pump inside.
So there actually was one with an air pump.
Yes, I don't know if in English it's called an air pump. It's
Bellows?
bellows.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the word.
Yeah.
It's like a bellows. And if you type Lyra organizzata in YouTube, you can watch some examples. It sounds like flutes, plus the regular wheel. So yes, sometimes they have bellows.
But I mean, many of the people in hurdy-gurdy community already know that there is no air in there.
No.
For those who don't know really, and they're falling in love with the instrument, how just explain to them, how does it actually make the sound?
Okay, summarizing, we have 3 types of strings. The drums, which are like a constant sound. Oh, yes, you have it there. Yes.
I'll hold it up. I don't know if people can see.
Yes, maybe they can. If they are watching us in in video, they will. So those are the drums.
Yes.
You would crank, and it's like a constant sound in the back, like on the bagpipes. The bong kind of thing. Then we have the trumpets on the other side.
The other side here.
Yes, the trumpet is like an alto. Well, yes, like a high-pitched drone that is in contact also with a piece called the dog, or the buzzing bridge, which it creates the rhythmic sound, like chick 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 chick. And then we have the melody strings.
The strings which are inside.
Exactly, inside the key box.
There we go.
That are being hit by the tangents. The tangents are like the fingers on the guitar. Like you press the keys, and then the tangent hits the.
This isn't how you hold a hurdy-gurdy, by the way. I'm just
No. Exactly. All those strings are being in friction with the wheel, which has some rosin. on it. So the wheel, exactly, that's it.
Right.
So the wheel is like our violin bow, but in this case it's an infinite violin bow.
Yes.
It's circular.
Just keeps going.
So yeah, it just creates friction on the strings, and then we are ready to play. If you accelerate, when you crank, you get the buzz, and I think that's it.
Yeah, and that's why it's also called the wheel fiddle, right?
Yes, actually that's interesting, and we could also make another episode talking about the different names of the instrument, because only in Spain it has more than 40 names depending
40?
on the region. Really, I tell you, really.
Huh.
And for example, here in this region where I am, in Catalonia, we call it in Catalan, we have another language here, we call it viola da roda, which means literally wheel fiddle, yes.
Right. Another question, well, actually we've got 2 or 3 more left to go.
Okay.
This one is another, I believe, maybe not serious question, but I'm interested in your response to it. My boyfriend does not like the sound of the hurdy-gurdy. Is this a good reason? Is this a good reason not to marry?
Is that Catherine?
Oh yeah, that's Catherine. That's Catherine. That's yes.
Catherine, you have to adjust your instrument a little bit better, and he will love you. Marry him. Yes.
Yeah, I asked her. I responded to that. I think I posted a video. I was like, "Well, does your hurdy-gurdy sound like this?" So
no, really. Like it's a. I get this quite a lot. It's an aggressive instrument normally.
Right.
But this is also because, and this could be controversial.
Okay.
Warning.
Yeah.
I think we as a whole, we don't take enough time with the instrument to really work out the setup. And also there is, if you get like all the players in the globe, there is only a small portion of us that really care about the adjustment and really care about the instrument sounding good. Right. So this is these and the HGSOs, like the hurdy-gurdy shape objects, and you know these guys that use the instrument as a prop,
right,
in the medieval fairs and blah blah blah. This is giving a very bad like marketing for us. Right. You know, if you go to a, you know, for example, I used to tour quite a lot in Germany in this medieval itinerant festival called MPS, and you go. I play the hurdy-gurdy, and they ask, oh, that instrument that sounds like a dying cat. You know, it's... So, yes. So, I forgot the question again, but...
it was basically, my boyfriend doesn't like the sound of the hurdy-gurdy.
Yes, of course.
Is this a reason not to marry?
Like, I understand why some people think the instrument sounds bad.
Yeah.
But this is not true.
Right. But it's not just the hurdy-gurdy. I mean, I remember a friend of mine who he played mandolin and guitar, and he decided he wanted to learn the violin. And he was an amazing mandolin and guitar player. And when he switched over to violin, it was horrible. He made me back him up on guitar for 6 months, and I just wanted to tear out my eyeballs or my ears. So it's not just the hurdy-gurdy. It's part of the process of learning how to do it.
But at the same time, if you tell somebody. Someone plays the violin, he or she is going to imagine like Paganini, Vivaldi, very sweet, the violin is very elegant. And then this is not what comes up when you mention the hurdy-gurdy. When you mention the hurdy-gurdy to someone that knows it more or less, what goes to his mind is and this is not the real sound of the hurdy-gurdy, but we are a lot of people that there are a lot of people that really don't care about the adjustment or the instrument at all. They use it as a prop, blah, 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 blah. They get to the mainstream, and then we are screwed up.
Well, I think you got your point across there, and that leads to the final question here. And this is going to be very important to a lot of people who want to get into hurdy-gurdy, and you know, yes, they need to adjust it well. But this question is from Joel, and he asks, from longtime players such as yourself, what was the process of buying and getting a Hurdy Gurdy? How does that work? Do you still have your first Hurdy Gurdy that you had from way back?
Yes, well, as I told you, I was a pianist, a classical piano player for a long time, and I used to work. Now I work full time as Hurdy Gurdy teacher, but some years ago I used to work in music shops. So at least for me, it was very obvious that I had to spend money if I wanted something professional. So actually, my first Hurdy Gurdy was like something big from Sergio Garcia. He's a really old school, like he's building for 40 years or something. So yeah, I spent like 3K on my first Gurdy because I really knew I wanted to be a professional in this instrument. And
do you still have it?
I still have it. I have it in the other room, but I have it here. I will show you in the next one.
Okay. And what's a good? I mean, so buying a Hurdy Gurdy is a lot different than just walking into, here in the U.S. Guitar Center and buying a new Les Paul.
100%, yes.
What's the process? What should someone expect when they're trying to get a good one?
I'll tell you the secrets to buy a Hurdy Gurdy. So first of all, waiting list. This is the thing. There are like very few. I'm doing quotes again. Very few builders for the market. Like the market is demanding instruments. Plus this instrument, the Hurdy Gurdy, is really complex to make, as we said earlier, and it's a lot of craftsmanship. How do you pronounce this word?
Craftsmanship, yes, exactly.
Involved into the Hurdy Gurdy building. So yes. So first of all, patience. Patience. You cannot expect to have a Hurdy Gurdy in 1 week. No. Nowadays, I know some people that is working on getting the waiting lists down, such as Michalina with the Aplos or the Nerdy Gurdys, which, I mean, for example, the Nerdy Gurdy, you can very easily get someone to put you a kit and just get it ready to go. Like, it's not something very top, like very high end, but it works to start. So maybe that's a good option to start. And then place an order to your favorite luthier. Obviously, do your research. Do not buy the Hurdy Gurdy shaped objects, even if they are $1,000. They will not be good. They will not be enough. Even if you think, oh, I need something simple because I'm a beginner. No, no, they are not functional. So be really careful about this. So of course, we have these guys like Sergio Garcia. For example, he has some models that can be ready in 6 months, 7 months. ELZ from Brazil, who for me is the best maker of America right now.
And Marco, that you mentioned.
Of course, and Marco Gamarra from Spain. ELZ and Marco Gamarra are my favorite makers right now, like on the new guys. Right. On the new guys, they are my favorite makers for sure. And actually, I'm getting my new ELZ next week, and Marco is building me a Gurdy. So yes, more Gurdy. So yes, sorry, I lost the thread. I lose it a lot.
Yeah.
So we were talking about buying an instrument, right?
Yes, the process. So you were doing pretty well.
It depends on your budget, of course. If you have little money, go get the Nerdy Gurdy. Mm-hmm. It's easy to get, easy to build. You don't need to be a woodworker. It's really very simple. Go get a Nerdy Gurdy, build it. Building the instrument is it's not like building an instrument. It's more like building a Lego, a puzzle, right. Because everything fits there. It's very well designed. And get one, please, get one. Build it. Building the instrument will teach you quite a lot about the adjustment, about how the instrument works. This is amazing. I think everybody should get an Hurdy Gurdy once in the life. Really, it's very cheap. It's amazing. Then once you have this, go find your budget. What do you have? 1,000 euros? I don't know. Go to Jesus Reolid. Go to Michalina. Mandel. Renard. Traunecker. We have a lot of people.
Right.
If you have a little bit more, on the 2,000 euros kind of range, then I would say go to ELZ, go to Gamarra, go to Cedo, go to these guys. And well, it's just about researching. Go to YouTube, listen to the sound samples, compare,
Right.
and just read the FAQ also.
Yes. On the Hurdy Gurdy community Facebook page, FAQ. That's where they need to go.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Well, that should do it for today. I want to thank you so much for being here, Sergio.
It was fun.
I really appreciate it. Are there any major projects that you're working on, or things that you want to talk about that are coming up for you?
Yes, this is very new. I didn't talk about it a lot. I'm not recording lots of videos right now in YouTube. It's 105 days without video. I know everyone is demanding, but I tell you why. I was working in creating an online platform to teach Hurdy Gurdy. So I'm making this website. Well, I'm transforming my website, Sanfoneando website, into an online learning platform. Where I will put some, not some, a lot, a lot of pre-recorded lessons, like with technique, with tunes, phrase by phrase, etc. And it will be fun. So yes, it should be ready in 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it's going to be fun. With the people that subscribes to this service, we will have also a Telegram chat, to solve adjustment problems, doubts that can occur. And I want to also make a collective Hurdy Gurdy lesson once a month with them. So it will be fun.
Okay.
For sure.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, and I'll put all your contact information down at the informational part of this podcast, and we'll see you next time when we have a little bit more to talk about.
Perfect.
All right, you take care.
See you guys on the Gurdy Cafe. Yes.
Yes, that's right.